Welcome to the Radical Rebuild podcast. Today I've got an exciting conversation with the reigning Missy Bariatric. Not only has Elizabeth had a weight loss procedure, 6 skin removal episodes, she's entered 2 pageants and one. She's done multiple fundraising for her exciting adventure of starting a dementia cafe. Welcome. You've done a lot.
Hello.
Hi. Tell us, how have you been building your life since you had weight loss surgery?
Okay, so in 2021, I lost my baby sister. And it was the catalyst for me to decide that, life is too short. I had, up to that point, lost 5 stone on my own through cabbage soup diet, Slimming World, 21-day meal plan, all of that sort of stuff. And I'd watched my daughter have weight loss surgery, and I decided I was going to do that too. So I went and had weight loss surgery. Since then, I've lost a further 5 stone. So it's about 10 stone in total. And it's changed my life. I'm not going to lie. It's changed my life. Like the weight loss community and everything that I've gained from it. I've been able to follow my dreams. I've got a CIC registered company. I am going to be opening my very own dementia cafe here based in Kent. And I will be the first one in the UK to offer free to access rest and reprieve day services for families who can't afford it. It's something very close to my heart. I've been fundraising through balls, bonkers boozy bingos, raffles, everything for the past 3 years now it is. And in total for charity, I've raised 49,000, but 17,000 of that is in my very own charity. And I'm currently in the grant application stage. So exciting times.
That sounds incredible. And just going back a little bit, you've come so far in such a short period of time. What was life like for Elizabeth, let's say 4 years ago?
It makes me sad thinking about Elizabeth 4 years ago, because Elizabeth 4 years ago could only have dreamed of being me now. And we're saying Elizabeth, and I'm thinking that doesn't sound right because I'm Lizzie. I'm Lizzie. So my mum calls me Elizabeth when she's angry. So let's go with the Lizzie. But yeah, Lizzie back then, she was still me. I was still full of joy. I was still happy. I still loved myself. I still had confidence, but it was a different type of confidence. It wasn't a genuine, I'll tell you what I had. I had confidence, but I didn't love myself. That's the difference. So through doing Miss Bariatric and the workshops with yourself and with Hayley, honestly, because I'd just gone through a divorce, I was probably at the lowest. Well, I was going through a divorce, just going through a separation. I was probably at the lowest point of my life then. I had 0 self-confidence. I was never told, you look beautiful, you're doing so well. Even through the process of losing weight, it wasn't till I split up in my relationship that I was able to look at myself in the mirror and think, you look good, you've done well. Because there was always a sort of overcasting shadow over that. So yeah, going back, yes, I was big, I was bubbly, I was confident. I still had this great bloody personality. But deep down, there was a sadness, a desire to be somebody else. And I think that comes from my childhood trauma, to always put up a wall of protection and to emulate something that's not really who you are inside or how you're feeling.
Amazing. Do you think the weight loss surgery was the catalyst?
I think it helped me find myself again. However, I do fully believe, and I will say this openly to anybody, if you think that having weight loss surgery is going to fix all your problems, it's not. Because testament to my own self, I've made lots of mistakes since having weight loss surgery, because I haven't dealt with the major trauma issues that are actually in my life. So you've got like a tree, and you've got your branches and your flowers, and it might be I don't know, alcoholism, or I don't know, fighting, or whatever your little problems are. And then you get the branches, but actually the root cause at the bottom of that tree, that's the deep trauma that's within you. And if you don't deal with that, you can have weight loss surgery and the flowers might bloom again, but there's still the deep rooted stuff. And Yeah, I'm still working. I'm on a self-healing journey right now and a process. I've stepped away from one part of the community in my life that I was going with, and I'm focusing solely on myself, because in order to be the best person I can be and pour from a cup that's full of love, I need to fill my own cup first, and that's where my self-healing journey is at the moment. So the surgery won't fix all your problems, because you need to look at the deep-rooted cause.
And I totally agree with that. And I think it's a journey, and there's going to be different seasons of those journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been lovely to watch your season since before we even met. I saw you on social media, so it's been amazing to watch you at those stages, and as you enter into a new one. But from what I know about you, the building that foundation, you started almost brick by brick.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come to, in their 40s, 30s with foundation that's quite solid anyway. But for some of us, it's brick by brick, and I've really admired watching you build yourself back up, even when you've been torn down.
Yeah, thanks, Safi. I will say that before I split up with my ex, and I thought my life was picture perfect. I thought I had everything I ever wanted. I was in a marriage. I was married for 10 years, well, almost 10 years, like about a week before. But I was in a solid marriage and I was happy, and I thought that was everything I thought that was everything I wanted. And I'm going to get upset, but I don't mean to get upset, but because it is happy memories. It's not sad. I'm not sad. I'm so grateful for my marriage. I wouldn't be who I am without my wife. I am so grateful for everything that I had. But where I am now to 1 year ago when that ended, wow. Did I think any of this was possible? Did I think I could be this person? Did I think I could love myself, have boundaries, and not allow people to speak to me a certain way, or if it doesn't serve me, cut it off and stuff like that? No, the old me wouldn't have done that. The new me does do that. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I do make mistakes, but I always own my mistakes. Everybody is flawed. Nobody is perfect. But to take accountability and to learn from those mistakes and grow from them, become a better person, that's real queen behavior, I think.
It certainly is. And I wonder, you say not to people please and set boundaries. And for people who have no idea if they do that or don't do that, what is that first step? And I wonder were you scared to stand up for yourself? And
I think within the relationship, always I would think things in my head. I kind of grew up with, if my mum was telling me off, I would think, oh, F off in my head, but I would never actually say it, and I kind of got used to that. So if we was having an argument, when they left the room, I'd be like behind the wall, because it was me getting out my frustration, but I never sat down, and I was never able to, which I'm very much able to do within my relationship right now, is sit down and say, okay, I feel this way. And also to understand that when they're saying how they feel, not to diminish how they feel, to say, I understand where you're coming from, but I see it this way, and then come into a happy medium, knowing that you both have to understand one another's point of view and not make out like somebody's feelings and thoughts are less valuable than yours, because everybody's thoughts and feelings are valuable. Just because you don't agree with them doesn't mean that they're not right. I might say that the sky is, I don't know, royal blue today, and you might say it's light blue. Who's right? Your perception, my perception, nobody's. We can agree to disagree, but still be of an understanding that we understand one another. And I think to set boundaries is probably a process that a lot of people I would say a lot of people who've had weight loss surgery, I know a lot of people in the community, and the one thing that we all have in common is some form of trauma. And I think being able to come face to face with your trauma is very hard. I'm currently going through that process myself at the moment. It's not easy. It's not easy to face that trauma, but there are ways that you can deal with it that don't have to be so hurtful and drag you back to the place that you once were. You can grow from it. And I'm hoping that the version of me that will sit here in front of you in a year's time, hopefully on another podcast, will be a completely different person talking back to you. And I will have grown even more and have more self-love, self-worth, self-confidence.
I love that. And it's all, getting to a place where it's all work in progress. We are all work in progress. And I love that for you. I wonder, where in that first instance when you had the weight loss surgery, were you, from what I know, you were not somebody who had childhood obesity, but you
No.
were so. Okay, tell us a little bit about how you ended up.
Okay, so I will, like, I've always had an up and down weight journey. When I was younger, I will say this, that I was actually, this is quite open for me, but I was in Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital. I was in a children's psychiatric ward and I was locked up. And we used to see, my mum used to come and visit weekly. And one week we would make sweet treats and the next week we would make savoury treats. And I think that's where my food thing came in. I kind of used food as comfort because those sweet and savoury treats were always the things that made me feel closer to feeling mum's coming to visit and you felt loved again. So I would say it started then. I've always been really small, but I got misdiagnosed with bipolar and they gave me medication and I gained 6 stone in 5 months. So my weight loss journey, a lot of people, they were quite big and then they lost weight and you kind of lose your identity. But for me, when I lost the weight, I was like, oh, there she is. I'm back. It was a different type of feeling. Yeah, mine was through medication. And then during that process, they'd said, look, we've made a mistake. You haven't actually got that at all. You've got EUPPD. And my medication was changed. So it's allowed me to not put the weight back on again after the surgery and stuff. So yeah, mine's a bit different to everybody else's.
That makes loads of sense. Can you tell us what the abbreviation you just said, so for anybody who doesn't know?
The what, sorry?
What you actually, your correct diagnosis.
EUBPD is emotionally unstable borderline personality disorder. And essentially what it means is, and anyone who knows me in real life will know, when I'm happy, I'm really, really happy. When I'm sad, I'm really, really sad. It just intensifies your emotions. It's just plain and as simple as that. And I was on medication for it for a long period of time. And throughout my marriage, another thing that I'm really grateful for, Tina was a social worker, so, you know, I got to learn a lot through her social work. I realised that actually growing up, I was a victim of my circumstance as opposed to actually, I mean, in any written day, you would say that my path in life was already written for me because, as with some of my siblings, it was planned out. Yeah, my mum was like, you're better off being on benefits, you better not, you get a council flat, you'll do this, you'll do that. That's all wrong, by the way. Anyone who's watching this, that's not true. You are better off being a valuable member of society, having a job, making your mark on life, like your self-worth, everything. I lost everything when I was a victim of my own circumstance. And like now, who I am compared to where I probably should have ended up, they're bipolar opposites of one another. I'm so unbelievably proud of myself for being where I am compared to where I probably could have been.
And so you should. It's, you know, when you say it's that limiting beliefs that our parents or those caregivers, those early years, they plant that story, and it's not our story. It's clearly not your story. And at some point you shook it off and you chose to go, you know, with your own story or create your own story.
Yeah.
And you know, it's amazing. And I wonder, when was that consciously? Was there a moment you can remember making that choice?
Honestly, I have to say that, yeah. I mean, I've had a very checkered past. Meeting and marrying Tina changed my life for the better, because I remember I was suffering with mental health. I wasn't leaving the house at all. And she was going to work and she was paying all the bills. And she was like, one day you're going to work. And I used to get so angry. I used to be like, no, I won't. Stop telling me I can do these things when I can't, because I've been told for so many years that I couldn't do those things. And then getting diagnosed with, like, wrongly, obviously, bipolar, and just thinking, well, I've got to be on medication and I've got to be on benefits, or I didn't. I was so self-limiting and I didn't even realise it at the time. Tina gave me my power. She gave me everything to believe in myself. I wouldn't be who I am without her today. And that is the God's honest truth. And it was during that moment that, when you said about, can you remember a time, when she said to me, one day you'll go work and I'll go to work and we'll meet up at lunchtime. And I was like, no, I won't. That's the moment that I think back on when I look at where I am now and I think, she was right. She was absolutely right. I was a victim of my circumstance, the way I was brought up, being told certain things, and it doesn't define you. Your past does not define you. It does not have to define you.
That is so powerful. And I often say to people, is that it's that awareness, it's that first little seed that needs to be planted by somebody. And then your brain will go to work searching for that evidence. And, that's amazing. I wonder, because we're both here so we can impact people's lives.
Yeah.
So for anybody today that's been told, whether it's you will never change physically, you will never change, you will never have the jobs, you will never have the life you want. What is the one thing that we would love them to know?
Like I just said a minute ago, my thing is your past does not define you. Like, I have got a history of a criminal record. I thought I'll never be able to work. I work bloody hard. I've proved myself. I volunteered for a whole year before I got into work to prove that I wanted to be a different person. I'm not saying whoever's watching this has to go and volunteer. You don't. But believe in yourself and other people will believe in you as well. Don't set yourself limitations. I mean, I did it for so many years. I'm actually so angry at the old me for not believing in myself enough. But through my childhood trauma and everything else, I honestly believed that I was nothing and I was worthy of nothing and that my life had to go a certain way. And I am picture perfect proof that that is not the truth. Your past does not define you. And that's what I would say to people. You can be whoever you want to be. Just believe in yourself.
And you can make that decision at any time. You're never too old. You're never too, you can make it any time. And I love that. The one thing that's coming up for me is that, the little Lizzie or the Lizzie that's just surviving and has got you to this point. So she did her job and she just passed on the baton.
Yeah.
And when you were ready, you were able to run with it. Just, let's not abandon her. We love her for...
Oh, I love her. I wish I could go back and just say, you are not going to believe what you're just going to be like, like there was times when I tried to commit suicide multiple times. There's times that I didn't want to be here. There's times that I thought I didn't deserve to be here. But I do. I deserve to take up the space in this world. I deserve to make the difference that I'm going to be making in the people's lives with dementia. I deserve a voice. I deserve not to be shut down. I deserve to be heard in all the best ways. And I deserve for my light that I have within me to shine in the best possible way that it can. And I get your sunglasses, people, because I'm going to keep on shining.
And I can see that. I know that will be the case, and you'll continue because you believe it, and that's all it really takes. And I think you're a great testimony to the fact that things can be really, really hard, and you can make it work. And if we had an interview next year and the year after and the year after, I suspect it would just be wilder and wilder, and you'll be telling me all the things.
I probably will. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I feel like this all the time. It's really nice to reflect, especially with you, Safi, because you've helped me so much personally along my own journey. We have our own therapy sessions. And it's nice to reflect because you don't always give yourself enough credit for how far you've come. You're always looking at what you haven't achieved yet, or where you'd like to be, or what other people have got, or anything like that. And actually, sometimes it's nice just to, even in this conversation we've had, and I've just spoken about being in that hospital and being told by certain people that, you're better off this way, you're better off that way. And then to look at who I am now, I actually, in my head right now, and it's the first time I've done it, I'm thinking, well done, Lizzie. You've done this, Lizzie. It's given me that power to see myself where I could have been and where I am. And it's really nice to be able to self-reflect. And anyone who's on a journey, whether you're at the beginning of your journey, the end of your journey, whether you're thinking about starting a journey, trust in the process that you can be exactly everything you want to be.
And I love that because we only take one step at a time, and we only have, you and I just guarantee the next minute, the next 2 minutes, we can both not be here. So sometime actually it's been really proud of what's happened in the past and then using that data to move you forward.
Yeah.
And I love that for you because right now you've got so much gratitude.
Yeah.
And evidence says gratitude is where wonderful things come from. And I work with a lot of people who struggle with wants to be fixed. Life has been hard. And then you say to them, it's just those little things. It's just those little nuggets, like the realization, one step at a time, getting closer and closer. And I love that you know, you're able to be really look at life with so much gratitude, and I think that's your secret.
Yeah. I think as well, like, I remember there was a time when, say somebody paid me a compliment and they was like, oh, your dress is nice. And I'd be like, oh, it's only from whatever. Now I started doing this thing where I was like, Lizzie, you've got to learn to accept compliments. Now, if anybody says to me, oh, your hair looks really nice, or I don't know, I really like your shoes, I say, oh, thank you so much. That's my answer now. It never used to be that. It used to be from a place of, oh, what me? And feeling negative towards myself. Now I'm not doing that. So I am saying thank you very much. Or, you know, if my partner says, oh, you look really beautiful, I'm like, thank you, babe. You know, it's just really nice to be able to accept and a compliment and realize that you're worthy of that compliment. You're worthy of that. And that's a very small step that somebody can change at the moment. If you're going to get a compliment, please just accept it, because people are not saying it for the sake of it. They're saying it because they want to give you a compliment. Dim your light or down yourself, accept it and shine and enjoy the compliment.
It's amazing. A lot of times I think as women, it's a wider issue. As women, we were told, you know, who does she think she is? You know, she's big-headed, she's selfish. So society has really given us that blueprint.
Yeah.
But actually, why shouldn't you be really proud of the way you look, what you've achieved, what you've done, how you've made people feel? And, you know, it's an amazing moment where you realize I'm actually worth, regardless of what I'm giving to everybody or what I look like on the outside, Mama. I'm worthy despite everything else that I've been through. And I really love that. And this conversation will never do justice for the stuff that we've discussed in the past and how far you've come.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that it will give people a taste of actually everybody's going through it. You've had childhood trauma, mental health struggles. You've had it all.
Yeah, I've had, you know, I would list off a couple just in case anybody. So childhood trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse, domestic violence relationship, mental health struggles, criminal record. I've had a lot of stuff happen, but it doesn't define who I am. And for anyone watching who doesn't know who I am, just follow me, Little Lizzie 5 on Instagram. Any of the subjects that me and Safi touch upon affect you or bother you in any way, please feel free to inbox me, because Safi will openly admit I'm an open book, so I'm always there at the end. I always pride myself on answering every message. If you're struggling or something resonates with you, feel free.
And that is so kind. And you know, I think that's why you've got built up such a big community, because people really resonate and see them live. Not even the messy side of life, because Instagram and social media is this place of where everybody's pretending to have the best photo, the best corner.
I will admit, though, if you're going to do that, I don't pretend to have the best photos. I do cry 1 minute and then laugh the next. And then I don't know, like, my emotions are real. I am real on there. I'm authentically myself. But also, I will say I'm unapologetically myself. I don't shy away from being who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. And it is what it is.
And that's what I love about you, where in a space where a lot of people pretend and portray a life that's not necessarily their life all the time, you come and you're like, this is it, everybody. This is all the shenanigans, you know.
Hold on to the roller coaster ride.
Yeah, and then you give us your beautiful photos, but you're like, life is still, you know, life
is lifing, yes.
And happiness is never really, you know, it's not a destination. You won the crown. It's up and down, and I love that. So anybody that follows you, I suspect that's why you got so many people following, because you are so authentic. But and this conversation could go so many ways, because you've lived a life and you've achieved so much. But I just would love to just reflect on what are those things, imagine 5 years down the line, that you would like to achieve, and, you know, talk us through what are those things?
Well, for me, mainly my sole purpose, as you all know, is my dementia cafe. I want to open the dementia cafe. It's called Lizzie's Helping Hearts. I've been fundraising for 3 years with the help of my whole community. The people that I've met through the community, who I call genuine friends, are actually directors on the board of the company. That's how much people believe in me and my dream. And you know what? To have somebody believe, I will be honest, the friends that I've made, like my genuine friendships within the community, I'm supported more than I am by my own family. And that to me speaks volumes. To have, if I had not met those people and they'd not believed in my dreams, and we hadn't took Janine, 98-year-old Janine, to see George Ezra at a VIP booth in a concert, and I didn't get the publisher to publish Lucy's book, Lucy and the Bear, and it's available to buy on Amazon, and every penny goes to her grandkids after she's passed away. You know, the end of life wishes. I'm going to be implementing that within my cafe. And so in the next 5 years, I'm hoping a lot sooner than that. I'm hoping within the next year, the cafe will be up and running, and it'll be going from strength to strength. Who knows? 5 years, will we have one up and down the country? I don't know. I find it very hard to envisage something that I don't personally feel I'm capable of. And some days, there are days where I think I'm not going to be able to do this dementia cafe, and it overwhelms me. And I think, oh my God, just give all the money you've raised to a different cafe. And I'm like, no, Lizzie, because then where's your purpose? Where's your dream? This has been your dream. Why are you going to take it away from yourself when so many other people have tried to snatch your dreams away from you? You keep going and you keep doing what you need to do to get the cafe open. So in 5 years' time, I reckon I might have won a couple more crowns. Any luck? I do have a couple more pageants coming up that I'm really, really excited about. Obviously, next weekend I give this one over. And yeah, I'm just so super grateful, because do you know what? If it wasn't for Senna, I wouldn't be who I am even sitting here. I know I thank Tina for giving me everything, and I really do. She gave me the power to believe in myself. But Senna, you and Hayley gave me my self-confidence, my self-worth. So even though she gave me the power to believe in myself, you guys and Miss Bariatric gave me the power to believe in myself, my self-worth. You gave me more than just the power to believe in myself. You gave me the tools to go and do what I needed to do. And I'm going to get out and say, I'm so bloody grateful. I'm so thankful. Honestly, I'm so thankful.
It's amazing.
I still make mistakes, but so doesn't everybody. And at the end of the day, it's about how we grow. And I am so grateful to be sat here as my little Lizzie self in front of you now, having this conversation, because I'm so proud. I'm so proud, and I'm so super grateful.
And I'm sure I can speak for the other ladies too, because they all say exactly the same thing, is that we were just there to aid you a little bit. We were just there to give you a helping hand.
I don't think you realise how much power that you actually gave me that day. You and Hayley, like Senna's Miss Bariatric pageant.
Yeah.
The way Senna has been a director and how she has directed throughout my reign is nothing short of absolutely incredible. She is an absolute powerhouse, and I am so proud to be her queen.
Amazing. And I love that for women who have, maybe I should have a conversation with Senna actually, but for women who have struggled, and I think the one thing that ties us mostly together is the weight, but for us to all then use that as a catalyst to then go and touch other people's lives and help other people. We've all got that in common, haven't we? That we all want to. And I think, my podcast, this different variations of it, but it's always been about touching one person. And that's all I've always worked.
One person gets something out of this. It's worth doing just for that one person. Subjects can be uncomfortable, but like I said to you, I'm willing to be open about all subjects, just because although it might be uncomfortable for me, it might be the one word that somebody else needs to hear that day. And that's the impact that you can have on the world. It's important.
And all it takes is the brain. All it takes is just a signal, an interrupt, a pattern interrupt. Somebody saying something that rings true to you on some level, so the brain can chew on it. And I love that, and the power, because words are so powerful, because they can also go the other way. So I really, 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 really love that. And I just love the fact that this weekend I'm going to see you again, as you
hand over my crown to 2 more. Do you know what? I'm so super excited to see girls go into that pageant the way I went into it. I was in my car doing stories on my Instagram going, I'm going to go home. There's no point me being here. Everyone's young and they've got long hair and I'm wearing Primark stick-on nails and I won it. Did I ever expect to win it? Absolutely no. I think you can tell by the shock on my face when I won. I want to be able to watch those girls go in how I went in and leave with what I left with. it's going to change their lives in so many ways that they don't even know yet. And that's what's so incredible about Miss Bariatric. It's about being authentically yourself, not what you've lost, but what you've gained. And I wish all the girls the best of luck, and I can't wait to crown 2 new queens.
I think, you know what, that's a beautiful place to leave it. And
Yeah.
I love that message. And it's just it's an amazing, amazing message to give. And I know you mean it. And we wish all those girls, amazing luck. And I know they'll all be touched. I was touched and I wasn't even competing. It's just an incredible place to watch people rise like phoenix from the ashes.
Phoenix from the ashes. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Yeah.
You know?
If I ever wrote a book, it'd have to be called The Phoenix from the Ashes for sure.
Maybe next year you'll be telling me about your book.
Maybe. Thank you, Safi.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you on next episode.
Bye.